Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I want to ask you some questions about the Prime Minister's so-called ethics screen. First of all, the ethics screen is being administered by the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff and the Clerk of the Privy Council, correct?
Yes.
So we have the Chief of Staff, who is appointed by and works directly for the Prime Minister, and the Clerk of the Privy Council, who serves at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. These two individuals are hardly independent of the Prime Minister. So in the face of that, what assurance do Canadians have that the screen is being implemented and enforced properly?
Well, let's be practical. Anything that goes to the Prime Minister for decision goes to either one of these men or both. They are, in effect, the key holders for what gets on his desk and what he deals with. So they are the logical ones to make sure he does not get involved in these things.
Well, sir,
I'm just talking about purely administratively. If you want to install the key people who determine who the last person, what goes to the Prime Minister are these two people. They, of course, have a whole...
Well, sir, I understand that it's administered by the Chief of Staff and the Clerk of the Privy Council, both of whom serve at the pleasure of the Prime Minister. And so I'm asking you, in the face of that, what assurance do Canadians have that the screen is actually being enforced properly? Are there any independent mechanisms that your office has to ensure that it, in fact, is being applied properly?
Because their interest is the same as the Prime Minister. They don't want to run a house, see the Prime Minister whom they serve run afoul of conflict of interest. That causes both political and legal problems. They are there to make sure that he complies with the law. It is their duty, and they have been assigned that duty, and surely they're going to exercise in such a way that there does not appear or does not arise a conflict of interest. That's their job.
So your answer is that the effectiveness of the screen rests on the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff and the Clerk of the Privy Council, right?
I rely on the integrity of the senior people in government acting in accordance with the law, because it's in their interest and it's in the interest of the Prime Minister.
The answer, sir, is there are no independent mechanisms in place, correct?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I have just, don't forget, it's not there. Each one of them has a whole body of people working under him. They've all been instructed. We have given them lessons on how to do, etc. When in doubt, they will consult with us. They are very keen to have that nobody can raise a conflict of interest.
Well,
and that's their job.
Well, all I can say, no reporting, no transparency measures, no checks and balances. We're just left to take the word of Mark Carney and his two top advisors. I would say that falls short. Now, with respect to the ethics screen, Mr. Carney may participate in a discussion or a decision on a matter of general application or that affects interests of companies as a broad class of persons, unless those interests are disproportionate to other members. Now, disproportionate isn't defined in the screen, so what constitutes a disproportionate interest?
First of all, what's a class? A class is a whole bunch of persons who are affected by have one thing in common, right? And let's say a perfect example would be farmers. Yeah, what are they also? It's a class. They all. You can have a subclass. They're wheat farmers, etc. Then if one of them is disproportionate, let's say wheat farmers is probably a bad example, but if one member of the class owns 60% or so, and the other one, the other 40, then clearly that person who has a 60% interest in that group of companies is a disproportionate, and the screen would apply. I can't give you a specific, generic position because it depends on who we're dealing with and what the industry is and how widely or closely it is held.
That's it, Mr. Cooper. Thank you, Commissioner.